All right, well, here we go on a Wednesday. I was thinking about, every day we try to have a theme, and I didn't know what today's theme was going to be, like a way back Wednesday, but you know what? It's not way back. We're never looking backwards. We're always looking forwards here on Good Morning Huntsville. I want to welcome you in. Thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday. Our great friends from Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools are here today.
We are.
Let's give it up for Charlotte and Courtney.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was hoping the studio audience, we've got about 40 people here in the audience, and guys, y'all can clap. It's okay. So a lot of folks, just kidding, there's nobody in here today. But you know what? There's a lot of folks out there on what we call internet land joining us, and it is our joy and honor to bring you this show every single day from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. First of all, as always, let us know what you're thankful for today. I think whenever you spread that message of what you're thankful for, it inspires other people to really just have that attitude of gratitude that we talk about every single morning here on the show. So let us know again this morning what you're thankful for, what you're waking up to today. And we hope that you're on a way to a blessed day today. If not, you just got to change the way you think. I heard a preacher say it this way one time. You got to change your stinking thinking.
Oh, well.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Very simple.
Completely.
You just got to change that stinking thinking. And you just say it in a weird tone like that, and then you never forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, we are here broadcasting live downtown. A little cloudy and muggy this morning. But you know what? It's always bright and sunny here on the show, and so we want to welcome you in. We are broadcasting from our studio that is sponsored by our good friends at Elliott's Jewelers. Got the coffee mug here. This mug hasn't moved in like 4 days, so I just moved it. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I do keep the mug there to give Elliott some props. You can check them out online at elliotsjewelers.com. We are also right next door to the gallery. Our good friend Paul Oley helping to make this show possible as well. You can visit him online. And just Google him out there and come by and see him in person. Paul would love to see you. He's a great man, custom photography, framing, and so much more. And just want to do some housekeeping. Want a big thank you to our good friend, Miss Leah Linebeck from Sweet Caroline's Floral Shop. Look how beautiful these are.
They are.
She does great work.
So
love those pink colors.
We're going to be giving these, I was going to say bad boys, but this isn't no bad boy. I mean, these are beautiful.
They are.
Yes, they are.
These are beautiful. We're going to be giving away these beautiful flowers. These aren't bad boy flowers. These are good flowers. We're giving them away on Friday. All you got to do right now is just like this broadcast, comment with the hashtag Hello Huntsville, Good Morning Huntsville, and then share it. You'll be entered to win. A couple of other things. Today we are, by the way, giving away. I'm going to give this away today. Give it away now.
That's
do you know
right.
that song?
That's right.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
Can you
Yes.
sing it, Courtney?
No, you do not want me to sing.
I was trying to get
She'll
Courtney to
throw
sing
down,
this morning.
though.
Give it away. Give it away.
Turn the music up. There's several other people. I'm your girl.
What's the area code in Houston? Is it 281?
At 713-281.
281-830-80.
832.
281-8.
Yeah, 8322, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Cause you remember there's a guy down there.
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, 281-830-8004. Mike Jones. She's from H-Town.
I am.
So we're gonna have Courtney break it down here in the next segment.
I don't know about that.
Just kidding. I love when you say you're from H-Town because I'm from H-Town too, Huntsville.
Yeah.
Huntsville.
That's true.
We're giving away a pension plate meal today, so I get off track really easy. We're giving away a pension plate certificate today. Wonderful new restaurant that's opened up. So.
They are wonderful.
We went last week.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it was
what
fantastic.
did y'all eat?
We got a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
We went
had the
as a group.
salad bar,
I had the grilled chicken sandwich.
and it was, and then we shared the club sandwich.
Yes.
We had a
someone-
pint of that.
yes. We
Yeah.
all kind of just got and ate, and it was
Sure.
great.
That was, you see the H-Town coming out. We all got an 8, and it was great. Booyah, Mike Jones. You ain't got nothing on Courtney from Tomorrow's Promise. You better back on down, brother. But we are giving these away. So, again, comment with the hashtag Good Morning Huntsville. Visit Huntsville, TX, whatever you want to put there. We'll enter you to win that. I'm also going to be generous today. Check out this gold box. It is filled with a piece of jewelry that's valued at $100. $100 right here. All you got to do is like, share, comment. You'll be eligible to win this prize pack today. Again, big thank you to Elliott's Jewelers and also our friends at Pinch and Plate. Well, you may notice something different today. You guys don't. I do. It's Rick and Kay are not here. Our prayers are with them. They are up in Oklahoma right now.
They are.
With Kay's father, and so we are just praying for health and comfort there. And,
Yes.
and
Yes.
But great to have y'all in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
We are
We're
happy to be
excited.
here.
We got a great show lined up today. We'll be chatting with y'all. We'll be learning more about your background and history. I know you've been there, just what are they? You've been there a day past Wednesday. It's been a whole minute.
Yes, it has been a whole minute.
So,
got here in 1999. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Man, that's weird to say that like 1999 is a whole minute now.
Yes.
Because I feel like I was just living 1999. I was 14 years old in 1999.
I graduated high school in 99.
1999.
All right, you youngins.
It's better, though, if it wasn't like 93, because there's an old hip-hop song about
Yes.
that. Back before 92 and 93, nobody knew nothing about Warren G. We're having fun this morning, so Charlotte don't even know. We're going to have to introduce her.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we're going to have
No
to
idea.
We're going to learn more about you, Charlotte.
Yes.
Your journey from Denmark, how you got over here, moved here when you were 19. So we'll talk about that, your involvement with Tomorrow's Promise. And then Courtney has been blessed to be there for a little over a year now. So we'll learn a little bit more about you guys as well as this show continues on. Also joining us today, we have a good friend, Tim Pledger is joining us. He does mission work overseas and throughout the country, and so we're going to learn more about his mission and what he does. It's called All Nations Ministry, and very, very excited to have him on. He's going to be in town this weekend preaching over at Grace Baptist, so we'll have Tim coming on here in about 5 minutes or so and learn more about what he's doing. And this show is all about welcoming people in and lifting people up. And that's what we do here on Good Morning Huntsville. Again, the show today is brought to you by our Foundation 5 sponsor, Tomorrow's Promise. They've got their third location underway.
Yes,
Charlotte,
we
it's
do.
been exciting for you. Have you been through all three?
I have.
Pretty much?
I have, yes. We actually started downtown right when I started in 1999, and then after 2 years or so, we moved to the location at Old Houston Road. Started there, bought the second house next to it, bought the third house, had a portable building put in. So yes, I mean I have been there through it all, and now at Children's House location, we've been blessed to have lots of children over there.
It's so great to hear the journey of Tomorrow's Promise and just the growth, and it's the faithfulness. Kay always talks about just remaining in faith, and her faithfulness has brought on such great employees such as yourselves. So many people are so important at Tomorrow's Promise. Everyone is important. The children are important as well. Notice I didn't say kids. Kay,
There you
Boning has
go.
taught me this.
Good job.
Kay is working on you.
Yes.
There you go.
Notice it is not a daycare facility. It's
Oh,
No,
a-
it
no,
is
it's
not.
I call
It is
it,
not.
she says like a child care facility. I say a child education center.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Child
or
education
early,
center.
early childhood education.
Oh, there you go. You
yes.
outdid me,
Beautiful.
Charlotte.
Yep,
beautiful.
She just outdid me.
Well, there's a
sorry.
difference between early childhood, and I've learned this working there.
Yeah.
Just child education.
Well,
Yes.
Charlotte, tell us a little bit about your story, because I think it's incredible. You know, if you listen to Charlotte, she's got a beautiful accent, and folks are like, where is this lady from? I'm going to tell you, she's from Denmark. You spent 19 years there. Tell
I
us
did.
about the journey from like Denmark to Huntsville, Texas. I got to hear the story.
I was born and raised in Denmark. All my family lives over there. My mom, my brother, and sister-in-law, and niece and nephew, and best friends. Moved to San Diego in 1990, 5 days after I graduated high school.
That was before it was cool to like, you know, that was when it was cool to be in California, by the
Yes.
way. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I mean, California is beautiful.
It is.
I
Very beautiful.
love California. It's a little expensive, but so I was in San Diego with a family. I was a nanny, little 5-year-old girl, beautiful. I mean, it was the perfect life. Met my husband, who was a Marine, out stationed outside in Camp Pendleton, and after 3 months of us dating, he got stationed in San Francisco at NAS Alameda. We moved up. He moved up there. We got married. The Marine Corps said, "Congratulations, we're shipping you overseas for a year."
Oh, no.
So he went to Japan for a year. I went to Denmark for a year. And then after we got back together, we were stationed in North Carolina for 2 years. And then he was a Marine Corps recruiter here in Huntsville. I got a job with Kay. Walked in and she's like, well, actually, I had a job somewhere else. I'm not going to mention where. So I was going to enroll my daughter Emma there. And she's like, well, why don't you come work for me? I was like, oh, no, I couldn't because, I mean, you know, I already have commitments with the other job. I couldn't. Well, I'd never been away from Emma before, and this was a brand new town, and, you know, so.
And you know Huntsville.
And you know Huntsville, so.
Good people.
Yes, they are. But after 2 days, I said, you know what? I will come work for you. Because
She lasted 2 whole days.
2 whole days. Well, because they were working me from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never been away from Emma before. So, I mean, it was hard. So Kay's like, well, come on in. And I said, but I'll only work for you if I can stay in her room. Well, that lasted 2 days because she was very much a mama's girl, and so I went to the 3 to 6 year old class, and that is definitely my calling. I mean,
that's great.
that is my age group. 3 to 6 year olds are just, they have my heart.
Braylon will be 2 coming up in November, and then 3. So we our plan is to eventually get her re-enrolled back over there with y'all. So
Good. I mean, I think the Montessori method is just beautiful, where they learn at their own pace and they get to just investigate what they are interested in, and I think that's just fascinating.
And not get investigated in these things.
No,
I am not a fan. You know, and Bridget will say, "You're lying. You're being a hypocrite." Well, my last name's Hip. I mean, that's the first part of it. Here's the thing, though. I mean, I use my phone a lot. I mean, I'm on it all day. Social media is what we do. We promote, we market, we lift people up through social media. So that's like my job in a way, is being on social media all day. But when it comes to kids, I cringe. I cringe. You know, seeing, and I'm not judging. I always have to throw that out there. Parents, I'm not judging you, but I'm just telling you that there's a different way. And it's like I said yesterday on the show, now that I have a kid, I feel like I have a little bit of foundation where I can speak about this. Before, if I didn't have a child, who am I? And I said kid on purpose because she is a little goat. You know, she's a beautiful little, she's not.
She is beautiful.
She's a princess goat.
She's a princess goat.
There's a different.
Yeah, there is. But no, in all seriousness, you know, I feel like there's a foundation now where I can speak on some of these things, and I've seen so much growth, and I understand that children develop at different times, and that I've learned through Kay, you know, that 0 to 4 is so critical. She's a minor bird. She's repeating everything that we say. And you got to be careful about what you say, too. You know, I want to be the same person here on this show that I am in the morning when I go home and throughout the community, and that's what I strive to do every day. I don't want to be somebody different because I'm in a different location. But I'll tell you this. I attribute a lot of her early success. She started speaking just quick. And that little she has probably 200, 300 words now. And I attribute a lot of it to when we had her in Tomorrow's Promise before we had moved, you know, up north. And so I'm very thankful for what she has learned through Tomorrow's Promise. And now, you know, once we get a foundation and a footing back here in Huntsville to where we need to be, I'm going to bring her back over there because I believe in it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a beautiful teaching, and where they get to do, like I said, learn at their own pace, and we can kind of guide them towards, you know, there's some children that are more interested in math. Well, we want them to have the language also, so we'll kind of, you know, now that you've done this, let's go ahead and go over here and you know, broaden their horizon.
Courtney, I wanted to give you a moment. Tim Pledger's waiting in our what we call our green room. We'll have you on here in a little bit, Tim. Appreciate you joining us coming up here in a few minutes. But Courtney, I wanted to give you an opportunity just to talk about you. I know we already were joking around from the H-Town to the new H-Town about a year ago, married. Just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I was born and raised in Houston.
H-Town.
When in '95 we moved to Conroe.
C-Town.
Yeah, C-Town. After high school, I started working for this retail company called Francesca's, and they sent me to New Orleans, and I lived there for 5 years. Absolutely fell in love with that city.
With New Orleans?
Yes, I am a Katrina refugee. I would probably still be living in the city in New Orleans if the hurricane hadn't hit. I was with Francesca's for 17 years, met my husband, had my daughter, who is now 11. So when she started kindergarten, I resigned from Francesca's so I can spend more time with her. And then about a year after I resigned, we moved to Huntsville because we just were looking for some land, looking to get away, and this is where we landed.
Yeah, well, it's great. And now you've been with Tomorrow's Promise over a year
now. Yes, for a little over a year. Never in a million years did I ever think I was going to work for a child care center because I have done retail my entire life, but I love it. I do. I
you never know
absolutely
what today will bring, for sure.
It's very fulfilling, absolutely.
What's your role at Tomorrow's Promise, Courtney?
I am the HR director.
Awesome.
I was hired as the office runner, kind of running around doing a little of everything. And so now I'm in charge of HR. That's
great. You know, and I love this story because we talked earlier, and Charlotte's been there through the growth. She's seen so many great. I talk a lot about Sam Houston State University and Bobby Williams, the athletic director. I mean, he's taken the program from NAIA basically all the way to Division I FBS, which is as high as you can get. And so when you're around people that have carried organizations to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, one, I think it shows great leadership. But two, I think it just shows a commitment to faith. You know, when you remain in faith, anything can happen. And when your focus isn't on, you know, how much can I make, but how many people can I bless? And I think that's the focus of what Tomorrow's Promise is. How many families can Tomorrow's Promise bless? How many children can come into a facility and learn and really have this understanding of this is what the world is, as far as just being able to be around an environment and pick up things. And I think it's so great what y'all do every day.
Yeah.
It's giving me like little goosebumpy feels this morning. You know, it feels good.
Oh, good.
I haven't had those in a while.
Wednesdays.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little, I don't know what we could say about what rhymes with goosebump and Wednesday, but you know, it's a little feel-good Wednesday today.
Exactly.
Well, Courtney, an incredible journey. And I think that everything is just so wonderful about, you know, what you guys are doing and all the great things that are happening throughout Tomorrow's Promise. So just wanted to continue to highlight those things. Someone had just messaged me, and I have no idea why. And this is why I love having people that communicate with us. If you still see our video, let us know. Someone had messaged. Sometimes it's their device. But someone had just messaged saying, I can't see your video anymore. And I think that's their device. So, yeah, Darla Jean, I see you this morning. I think it's your device. Thank you for letting us know, though. We're going to step aside. We're going to take a break, and Dr. Tim Pledger is going to be joining us remotely on the other side. We'll hopefully his system is working there. I don't see a video, Tim, but hopefully we'll be able to get you on. So we'll step aside. We'll take a break. A lot more to go here as we're talking all things good happening here in our community. We'll be right back in 60 seconds. Stay with us. This is your show. It's Good Morning Huntsville. Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back in. Having a lot of fun here. You need to buy the VIP pass to hear what goes on behind the scenes in the commercial breaks. We just had a rap
Lots
contest.
of fun. Lots of fun.
A lot of rap. Just kidding. You don't need to do that. We don't have that, but that's coming soon. We'll see if Tomorrow's Promise wants to sponsor that. They probably won't. So we're not gonna have the VIP commercial break. Hey, I want to welcome you back in. Thanks for waking up with us on a wonderful, beautiful Wednesday here in Huntsville, Texas. I'm Rob Pipp, as always, this morning. Joined, though, instead of Rick and Kay Boning, we are here with Charlotte and Courtney as well. So we appreciate them. They're very actively involved at Tomorrow's Promise. Charlotte's been over there, over 2 decades? Is that?
Yes, we are looking at 24 years.
I don't understand how you've been there 24 years, because that would put you started at 1 year old, Charlotte.
Oh, I know.
That's just
I know.
Yes.
Yes, I'm actually turning
I'm so
27.
glad that you remembered how old she was.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yeah,
she's
I know.
25. Happy 25th birthday to you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
And then, of course, Courtney is here today as well. Rick and Kay are out up in Oklahoma. Again, our prayers are with you. We love you guys and appreciate all that you do. Not just supporting this show. Tomorrow's Promise is one of our Foundation 5 sponsors, but more importantly, just being involved in the community. I think when you're involved, I always said that people will do business with who they like, or who they like, who they know, and who they trust. And I also think that goes for relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't have to go out there and try to sell everybody on who you are. Just be yourself.
Right.
And I think when you're rooted in the Spirit, too, that, people see that shining through you, and people want to gravitate towards positivity. They want to gravitate towards, everybody needs hope this day. And there's no one that gives any better hope than Jesus Christ. And I think if we can live that life every day of saying, you know what, today I'm going to stand firm on the foundation of truth and live that life, that great things are going to happen in your life. Not because that's what you do it for. You do it because that's what Jesus tells you to do. And so just be out there and be a good steward to others is the way that I think about it. And you guys at Tomorrow's Promise, that's what you do, built on that Christian foundation. And, you don't go around preaching to the kiddos, but there is that foundation that's very
100%.
important.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to say, too. Maybe you're out there today and you say, I don't know about Montessori. I want to learn more about it. Just go to their website, tomorrowspromise.info. And you can learn more. I believe that's the website,
Yep,
tomorrowspromise.info, and you
it.
can learn all about Montessori.
Or come in for a tour.
Yes.
Come in for a tour and see what we're about.
Who gives the tours?
Right now it's Nikki. I have done tours. Courtney has done tours. Kay has done tours. Really.
It depends on the day and what's going on. She might have a tour at Children's House, and we'll have to get the one at Old Houston. So we all kind of pitch in and do it together.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to keep him waiting any further. We have a very special guest that is joining us here this morning, and my good friend Randy Thompson made this interview possible, and appreciate Randolph very much. Without him, I wouldn't have known about this, and I know David Beatty and some other folks here in town, but we don't want to keep him waiting any further. Let's welcome in our good friend this morning. He said, just call me Tim, but I will say in the intro, it is Dr. Tim Pledger. Good morning, Tim. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning, Rob, and good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've enjoyed sitting here listening about tomorrow's promise and the work you're doing among the youth in the Huntsville area.
Yeah, great. Well, good to have you on. From now on, it is Tim. You already told me in the email, Tim from here on. But Tim, I wanted to have you on this morning. You are the mission director with All Nations Outreach Ministry. You were born into a Christian home of Tim and Barbara Pledger in 1969. Just a lot of great things. You've got a great biography, but I want to give you a chance just to kind of highlight your upbringing and just the things that you do. So kind of start with that, and we'll lead more into the ministry work and the outreach. But let us know a little bit about you this morning, Tim.
Well, I'm 54 years of age this year, and as you said, Rob, I'm from a Christian home. My dad's been a Baptist pastor now for 50 years of my life. He now pastors a church in the Jacksonville, Florida area called the Calvary Baptist Church. And so we're originally from Arkansas, but the last 37 years, Middleburg, Florida has been our home. And so I've had the blessing of not only growing up in a Christian home, but at an early age, knowing Christ as my Savior, and then being called into the ministry at the age of 15. I actually met Pastor David Beatty at the Grace Baptist Church in Huntsville when I was in Bible seminary in Jacksonville, Florida, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and we've stayed friends for all these years. I have 4 children and 4 grandchildren. My son is our youth pastor and our choir director at our church in Florida, and I've been blessed to be a part of a good church. And about 15 years ago, we started a ministry called the All Nations Outreach Ministry.
It's great what you're doing, Tim, and so thankful to have you coming in ministering to folks here in Huntsville. It's going to be a busy weekend. I think the Fabulous Quartet, and I may have misspoke the name. I wrote an article yesterday about it, but they're going to be in town, and then you're coming into town as well. You mentioned David earlier. You guys had met in seminary and Bible school. Just tell us a little bit about that friendship and how it led to Huntsville, Texas.
Well, when I was in Bible school back in the late 80s and I graduated in 92, Dave Beatty was just a young man still going through the grind of getting all his classes done like I was. And so through the years, we've stayed in contact. It's always good to have friends that have a relationship with the Lord and stay faithful to the cause of Christ throughout the years of their life. And I've always appreciated it. I don't get out to Texas very often, but I had the opportunity just last week of being in Huntsville for a couple of days and going out to dinner at the, I think it's called the McKenzie Barbecue.
There you go.
Lunch there with him, and then left town. I'm over in Louisiana now, but I'm heading there tomorrow. I'm going to be there for the weekend. I think it's the Blackwood Quartet that's going to be in town on Friday at 7.
That's right.
And I'll be there Sunday morning at 10 and 11.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for friends and family to get out and be a part of something so special. Tim, appreciate your time this morning. You have done incredible work. You've remained a faithful servant. We talk a lot on this show. We always lift up our community. We highlight the positive things. And, we talk a lot about what's happening here in Huntsville. And that's why we wanted to have you on. We wanted to, first of all, welcome you back into the community. It's going to be great to have you. Tell us a little bit more just about the organization, the ministry, and the work that you're getting to do. You are making such a tremendous impact, especially with folks in other countries. I wanted you to highlight some of that this morning, Tim.
Well, when my father was preaching a sermon at our church in Middleburg back in 2007, he talked about the Great Commission. And if you've been in church a while, you've heard the Lord Jesus giving a commission before he went back into heaven to take the gospel into all nations. And he gave that challenge to our church that when Jesus spoke that Great Commission, he was speaking to a singular church, one church in Jerusalem. And he said to that church, go ye into all the world. And so in 2007, November, my father said to our congregation, I want our church members to bear fruit in every nation. I want our church members to go to every nation in the world. There's 195 nations according to the United Nations list. And then there's about another 55 territories. And so our church members begin to divide up the world into different sections. We begin to try to invest the gospel by taking our own members. I guess it's the difference, Rob, between sending someone else's child to Afghanistan to fight or Iraq, or sending your own child. we wanted our own members to be able to have a part in taking the gospel around the world. And so I've had a love for the African people. I was a church planter in Nigeria for 6 years when I was in my 20s and early 30s. And so I began to go every year to Africa. There are 54 nations in Africa, and I've been blessed the last 15 and a half years to go to all 54 of them. I've enjoyed being able to minister with the local pastors, and I've been all over Asia in places like Pakistan and India. And our church members collectively have now been in 188 different countries, but we basically try to find ways to help the indigenous church planter. We thank the Lord for every missionary that leaves America and goes across the seas and takes the gospel, leaves their homeland. But truly, if we're going to have a part in reaching the world for Christ, we're going to have to invest in the local people. And so we have 6 different ways that we invest in the local indigenous church planters. We help them in a variety of ways. One of the things that we just started doing this year is we have a brand new primary school or elementary school going up in Liberia, a little place called Saklapia. We have one in a place called Wangulu, Kenya, over by the eastern coast of Kenya, near Somalia. And so we invest in local churches, in local pastors. We try to find resources in our own church. And so what I'm doing out in Huntsville is I visit churches now. I'm the missions director at our church in Florida, and I try to solicit help from others that will partner with us and just find ways to help the gospel go around the world through these indigenous pastors.
It's a great message, Tim. We appreciate you being here with us this morning. Again, Tim will be at Grace Baptist Church coming up on Sunday, I believe. What are the speaking times, just if folks want to come out? Because I know you're probably going to share more about your story, your journeys, and of course, you're going to share the good news of Jesus. But tell us a little bit about what folks can expect in your speaking schedule coming up this weekend here in Huntsville.
10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. At the 10 o'clock hour, do a Sunday school program for the church there and teach on missions. And then at 11 o'clock, share again a video, about a 6-minute video I have about how we work around the world in various countries, and then bring the Sunday morning. And it's Father's Day, so bring your dad to church on Sunday. And if you're a dad, bring your kids with you. And we'll look forward to seeing you at Grace Baptist here in Huntsville.
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful message this weekend, and you're right. It's Father's Day. This is like the real. My daughter now is 18 months, 19 months, but that first, like, if she's like 4 months old and it's your first time daddy, it's like, okay, well, I got the baby. Now it's like she's talking, she's walking, so now it's like I really feel like I'm daddy now, So it's going to be great coming up this weekend. Tim, you brought up something that was so important earlier. You talked about the Great Commission. I had a pastor one time tell me this, and there's a lot of theological discussion about it. Of course, we're not going to dig into that today, but I said, what about the people that are in other countries that never hear the name of Jesus? Are they excluded? And he said, Rob, he goes, I'm not the judge. But he says the Bible says that we are to go to all nations and make disciples. And he said that's why we have such a heavy heart to go to other countries and to find and reach the lost and to share the news of Jesus with them. How important is that mission field for you? I know that you said, you have a heart to serve others, especially there in Africa. How important is that mission field, and what are some of the things that you've learned over the years being able to minister to folks in Africa and other countries?
Yeah, if I could say this to the audience there in Huntsville today is that, first of all, we ought to appreciate the land that God allowed us to be born in.
Amen.
You're from America. I know that one of your guests today talks about being born in Denmark, and we all have a heritage and have an ancestry. But there are many people around the world that are born into places of abject poverty, places where the gospel's not so prevalent. The Apostle Paul talked about in the book of Romans, Rob, about how that he desired to take the gospel where Christ was not named. And there's a lot of places where the gospel has yet to reach. I think 1/3 of the world's population will live and die and never meet a Christian, never see a Bible in hand, never have a gospel tract put in their hand. And yet, as a young boy growing up in the foothills of Arkansas, the age of 9, I went to Sunday school every Sunday and heard the little Bible stories on felt boards, if you remember what the old flannel graph lessons look like. And I heard the gospel at a very tender age and got saved. And yet I travel all around the world in places like Libya and Algeria and places like Syria, where you can literally live your entire life and never one time hear the gospel of Jesus even presented. And so our passion is to be able to take the gospel. I know the Bible does speak about he lights every man that comes into the world. So I believe God does give every human being a little bit of light, and how we respond to that light will eventually determine how much light God gives us. And so I do think it's a personal, individual accountability to God. But I think God puts the burden on Christians, believers, on the church to do our part to take the gospel to the rest of the world, so that we won't be like Ezekiel talked about, and one day be held accountable for not doing our obligation. And so if you're listening this morning, you have unsaved or lost loved ones, take some time and show them the love of Jesus and bring a little gospel into their life today. We might not all cross an ocean or give our life to live in a foreign field, but we can all impact the people that we influence the closest.
Yeah, I heard a message one time, and again, Tim Pledger joining us this morning with All Nations Outreach Ministry. He will be at Grace Baptist coming up this weekend on Father's Day, a special service coming up, and make sure you get out there and listen to Tim. He is going to just bring a wonderful message. Tim, I was going back and thinking about just the journey, of being there to embrace others, to be a part of others, to be involved with others. And, I had someone the other day said, I've never been out and did mission work before, and I want to embrace people. I've talked to people in my own backyard, per se, here in their town or their state. They said, I've never been able to extend that outside of the borders of the United States. Maybe there's somebody out there this morning that says, I want to get involved in mission work. I want to travel abroad, and I want to be able to bring that word, the good news, to someone else. How can folks kind of start that process? I know the local churches usually have a way to do that, but it sounds like you guys are also helping to equip and train people on how to go out and be missionaries.
Yeah, I recently even taught a 13-week program to a church over in Gulfport to some Bible students on how to take short-term missions trips. And if anyone's interested in getting copies of my notes, I certainly would appreciate for them reaching out to me. We just have to start where we're at. Our church in Florida has sent out 90 of our own members the last 15 and a half years. We've just found what works and what doesn't work. Of course, there's not always the perfect way of doing something, but you just start where you're at. You first get your passport. If you don't have a passport, that's step number one. But then you begin to plan on where you're going to go and how you're going to be a help to people in need. And as you do what you know that you should do and that you can do, it's amazing how God opens up opportunities for those that are just willing, those that will be available. And so I'd encourage local pastors, if you've never taken a missions trip, you want to go with me. This year I've been in places like Tajikistan. Just in 2023, I've been in places like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. I've been in the Congo in March and in Kenya in March. And so as you get out and meet people and know people, you learn a little bit about what the world's like, and it gives you a better perspective. You come home, and like I said earlier, Rob, you're just thankful for the bed you get to sleep in, and you're thankful for the good water you get to drink, and you're thankful for the Walmart down the street, and being able to have religious freedom to go to church on Sunday and hold your Bible in your hand and without the fear of oppression. And so I'd say to local pastors and to local believers, if you've never taken a missions trip, start with what you know. And if you need some guidance, reach out to me or reach out to others that do this, and they can probably give you some good ways that you can begin in your own life.
Well, I wanted to mention something, too, because we're talking this morning with Tim Pledger, again, with All Nations Outreach Ministry. He's the missions director, doing an incredible job just spreading good news to people, to people who need something to cling to lift them up. And that person, obviously, is our Creator in Christ. I heard a preacher one time say it this way, and it really changed the way that I think. Because when I was growing up, I thought, man, I got to go out and I got to talk to multitudes of people to make a difference. I need to be out there. I need to find a way to get this message out to a large group of people. But a pastor had said one time in a service, he said, Jesus came for the one person, and the one person is us. It's each of us individually, because it is that personal relationship. And that really changed the way that I think. And so maybe this morning, Tim, and I'm sure you can attest to this or agree to this, that maybe there's someone out there this morning that feels like they're inadequate. They feel like they don't have this circle of influence. A platform, that's a word that I don't really like to use a lot, but somebody may say, I don't really have a platform to reach people, or nobody wants to listen to me. There's always that one person, though, that you have a connection to. I think everybody in life, no matter where they're at, they still have that solid relationship with at least one person. I wanted you to explain more on that, just about how, Jesus did come for the one person, for us individually, and that you don't have to have this huge group of friends to make a difference. I mean, you could spend your entire life leading one person to Christ, and the angels will rejoice.
And the Bible's replete with stories like that, about the woman at the well when Jesus met her in the book of John, Philip going to meet the Ethiopian man heading back from Jerusalem and climbing up in the chariot with him and sharing with him the gospel. As you said, Rob, we're not all going to have the same opportunities or places to go where we're going to speak to large masses, but everybody's got a mother and everybody's got a father. You've got a neighbor that lives around the corner. I was in a restaurant in Saudi Arabia about a year and a half ago, I was in the city of Riyadh, and I was preaching in 3 different Baptist churches. They were underground churches. And while I was there in Saudi, a man that spoke English spoke from behind me and got my attention. I turned around. He was a lifelong Muslim. His name was Ismail, and he was in his mid-30s, maybe late 30s, married with a child. And I began to share with Ismail the gospel story. And I believe wholeheartedly, Rob, that the gospel is the power of God. It's not our personality or our church affiliation. It's not our ability to speak properly, but it's the gospel that changes the hearts of people. And Ismail began to converse with me for about an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, and finally concluded that he needed Christ as a Savior. And sitting there in that little restaurant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a young man prayed, asked Christ to be his Savior. He started going to their church on Friday. They meet in churches there on Friday because that's the Muslim holy day. And he started going to a little Baptist church that I'd been to that week. And his pastor reached out to me a few months ago, Rob, and he said, Ismail has brought 9 of his coworkers that were all Muslim, and they've been converted and now baptized, and now all of them come to church together. And so we may not always know who we have in the basket or who we're ministering to, but God knows, and God knows the griefs and the heartaches of everybody that lives in our neighborhood. I've oftentimes said in churches, the hardest person to have compassion on is the guy that lives across the street from you. We can see a picture of a little boy in Ecuador or across in India with a bloated belly, and our eyes can get watered up with tears. And yet sometimes, Rob, we don't have compassion for people that live right around us. And so my encouragement to you is forget about trying to be the chief and trying to be the big dog on campus, but just decide, I'm going to try to make a difference in my own community. And that's really what these ladies that are with you this morning are doing in their own community. And all of us need to have that passion in our heart just to make a difference in the world that we live in.
Yeah, that's a really good word this morning, and you're 100% right. Again, Tim, pleasure joining us. Tomorrow's Promise, and these ladies and y'all staff make an incredible difference. I did want to bring Charlotte and Courtney into the conversation real quick. I mean, you work with children every day. What's some of the joy that you see in these children? Just being right here in our own backyard, seeing young people, children come in. What brings you a lot of joy, Charlotte?
I mean, just whenever they come in and they're just so excited just to be there and to be with you, and they notice everything about you.
Yes.
Did you get new earrings today? Mm-hmm. Oh, I like those. I think my mom would like those. I mean, it's just, they're just very excited and sweet and loving.
And that helps, to me, I've seen the growth in these kids, and that interaction and that them feeling comfortable and noticing the things about us, it helps them grow.
Yeah, it's good stuff this morning. That's why I'm so glad to have you on, Tim, just to share more about your story. I do have to ask, I traveled a lot when I was doing sports broadcasting, and, the first time you ever fly on a plane, you're kind of scared. I mean, the first time I flew on a plane, it was later in life, probably like 22, maybe 20 years old. We're flying over, we're going to Seattle, and literally the plane drops out of the sky for like 2 seconds. It hits, we hit some dead air, I would later find out. When it hit, a couple of the compartments opened up. I'm scared to death. I look at my aunt. She goes, well, that's never happened before. There's a guy that I was talking to that was a lawyer over to my right. He's scared to death. He's like, I fly all the time. That's never happened. So luckily we got that one out of the way. But Tim, I do got to ask you, because you're talking about flying into other areas. I'm so used to just, you get in a plane, you land, you get out through the airport, you walk. What's the travel like? Because I know that when you go to these other countries, there's not these nice, robust airports. I mean, these are all things that we take for granted here. What's the travel been like for you as you go into these other nations?
I mean, COVID made it really challenging. As you know, during that period, there was a lot of difficulty in traveling. I stayed mostly in Central and South America for about a year. But during those periods when you're traveling, not everything in America is perfect, but it's so much better than much of the world, especially the third world, getting onto airplanes. My way of, by the way, if you ever get fearful traveling on an airplane, is you watch the stewardess. If they look like they're real comfortable with all the turbulence, then you're in good shape. If they start getting a worried look on their face, hang on tight, And
that's great advice.
That's what I do all the time. And so, but coming through airports, sometimes you'll get off a plane, and as you will in places like the Congo, for example, where there's a lot of dysfunction in government, and some of their immigration customs policies are backwards and so forth. And they have 3 flights a day in a place called Lubumbashi, where I landed just in March, and yet it takes you an hour and a half to get out of the airport, whereas you arrive in Jacksonville, Florida, and you can practically walk out of the airport unharmed, and so forth. But you have to adapt to those things. A lot of times people, when we travel abroad as Americans, we get sort of labeled the ugly American because we're not the most patient people in the world. We're used to going through the drive-through and getting our meal right away and used to using our conveniences here in America. And when you're going to the third world, you definitely have to ask God to give you a bucket load of patience to be able to get through these places.
I'm going to tell you right now, maybe there's somebody watching this morning, if you want to learn patience, I'm going to tell you, move to Huntsville, Texas. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm saying it in a great way because this is one reason, Tim, that we wanted to come back so bad. After we found out we were having our second kiddo here in July, we wanted to be back close to family, but we wanted to be in Huntsville because the people here are so good, so nice. And it is a very kind of slow-paced, in a positive way, very slow-paced, laid-back, relaxed atmosphere. When I'm on the driving on the roads here, always joke around. You got a 5-minute drive in heavy traffic sometimes. Versus Austin, Texas, where it's an hour and a half. Yeah. So we have our 5-minute traffic jam here in Huntsville. That's all we have. But it truthfully is a place where it's just slow-paced, laid-back, easy-going. And so if you need to learn, let me put it this way: if you need to learn how to be patient, you come stay in Huntsville, Texas for about 3 months, and, I'll figure out a way. We'll rent out a room to you or something, But come here. We won't do that. I won't do that. Bridget would not like that. But you come to Huntsville for 3 months, and you'll learn just how to just take it easy, slow down a little bit. I think it's an important message this morning, Tim. We need to all learn how to slow down a little bit and take in the goodness that is around us that we've been blessed with.
I was in that McKenzie barbecue, and while I was there with Pastor Beatty just a week and a half ago, I guess it was, I think the owner's name was a man named Kevin, I believe. Yeah. But he came up and he pulled up a chair and sat down next to me, turned his chair around and just chit-chat for a while. And that reminded me so much of my father and my mother's home area of Arkansas, where people get to know people and build relationships. And really those types of folks in our country, they're the salt of the earth. And like you said, though, if we can slow our lives down, the Bible says in the book of Isaiah 40, they that wait upon the Lord. And a lot of times, even in our own Christian lives, we struggle because we lack the patience to wait on God. We're rushing ahead and trying to make the outcome that we want rather than just being patient and deliberate in our choices and waiting for God to speak to us. And so all of us do need to learn patience. And when you live in a third world context, as I did in Nigeria for 6 years, you're out of force. You have to learn how to be patient in the process and wait on God to open up doors and trust him that he knows what's best for us.
Tim, how can folks out there, we know that you're going to be in town this weekend. How can folks find out more information about you, the organization? Is there a website? I believe there is, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to highlight that. And as you say it, we'll pop it up on the screen here in a few moments.
Yeah, my father, as I said, pastors a church in Calvary, or called Calvary Baptist Church in Middleburg, Florida. And on a drop-down page is our All Nations Outreach Ministry page. The website of the church then is www.calvarycares.net, www.calvarycares.net under Calvary Baptist Church in Middleburg, Florida. And then we have a Facebook page that's the All Nations Outreach Ministry. And just any way that we can be a help to you, reach out to us. If you'd like to help us in some of the projects we're working on currently, you can. But if you just need prayer, reach out to us. We want to help. The Bible talks about not only reaching our Jerusalem, but it says both in Jerusalem and Judea and the uttermost in Acts chapter 1, verse 8. And so our heart is not only for the local people here in America, that God would work in our hearts as Americans, but that God would use us to impact the world over the oceans for the gospel's sake. While we still have opportunity, we don't know when the Lord's coming. He could come back in our lifetime, but we ought to be looking for his coming, and we ought to be preparing ourselves and our family that we'll be ready to meet Jesus one day.
Tim, before we let you go, I have to ask this question too. Randolph Thompson had reached out to me and said, hey, you got to get Tim Pledger on the show. I'm assuming you and him are friends. How do y'all know each other?
He was at our church. He was in the Navy, and he was at our church probably 30 years ago when I was a young man and had a head full of hair up here. and he helped me in the teen ministry. I was able to go out and do a lot of activities in the church with him. And then he left our area with the Navy and he moved here, moved there, and we've just stayed in contact. He's helped us and been a blessing to us. Even recently, we have a motorcycle fund that we raise money for motorbikes for local pastors in Africa and Asia. And when I was down in the Congo, I ran across a pastor that we were friends with, and I preached at his church in a little city called Kipushi. Went to a prison and preached with him. And this dear pastor was getting everywhere he went on a little bicycle. And I put online one day on my Facebook post that Pastor Kazadi Wakazadi was his name. Needed them. Aren't you glad for names like Rob and Tim? But I put that Pastor Kazadi Wakazadi needed a motorbike. And would you believe Randy Thompson put that on his Facebook page for his food truck, and some people that were customers came and gave money, and we bought that motorbike for the guys in Huntsville, or in the Congo, with money from Huntsville, Texas. And so I just thank God for people like Randy. He's been a good friend and a great blessing to me in my life.
Yeah, that's wonderful. He had reached out to me. Randy Thompson, of course, has Granny Mary's Cajun, the Asian cuisine. Have you had any of his food? He's got that wonderful little food trailer that's over by Smiley's here in town off 75. But have you had a chance? Has he ever said, hey, man, I want you to try some of my food?
He has promised me, I'm getting there tomorrow to Huntsville, and he's promised me that before Sunday, I'm going to eat some food off his food truck.
All right, well, there you go. And, I grew up in a Baptist church, so we were always about food, and I always loved the potlucks, and we always prayed over the meal because you never knew. There was always that 95-year-old lady, God bless her, that always cooked something that was a little sketchy, so we prayed over it, and we never got sick.
Amen. Amen.
Well, Tim, appreciate you. Again, for more information, folks out there, you can learn more about Tim and the great mission work that he is doing through All Nations Outreach Ministry. You can visit him online. Go to calvarycares.net. Again, calvarycares.net is the website. We wanted to bring Tim on today. Randy had introduced you, but we knew you were going to be in town. And so, we highlight the good happening in this community, and we highlight those that are coming in, helping the good in this community. And Tim, you were doing just that. We appreciate you. And a special blessing and prayers as you continue to reach folks, not only right here in America, but also abroad. The work you're doing is just incredible, and we appreciate you so much, Tim.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Charlotte and Courtney, for all you do, and Good Morning Huntsville.
All right, there you go, Mr. Tim Pledger. That's why I love doing this show, because you never know, what's going to happen and who we're going to be able to have on. And now that the word is out, we're here on episode 47 already, which is crazy to think. I feel like we were just in Fargo, a couple of days ago. But we want to highlight the great things that are happening. And we wouldn't be able to do that without folks, such as Randy, of course, that helped us today. He said, hey, I want to figure out a way to get Tim on. And Randy Thompson has Granny Mary's Cajun Asian Cuisine, beautiful food trailer there that is right off of 75 at Smiley's when you're coming into town on the south side. And so when you're coming in, you're going to have to stop by. Go by and see him. He's open a few days out of the week. You can find him on Facebook. I think he's open today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So go out there and support Randy. Again, local business. But then, of course, we wouldn't be able to have this show without our good friends at Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Again, Charlotte and Courtney joining us this morning. I did want to say Tim's done an incredible job remembering names because, man, for me, there's a guy that I'm in a networking group with, and I've known him, for a couple of years now. And his wife corrected me yesterday, and she goes, Rob, it's Shane, not Blaine.
Oh, no.
And I've been saying Shane for months. And I knew it was Blaine, but the brain, Shane, Blaine, brain.
There you go.
There you go. Insane. It just doesn't work out. I'm telling you, man, Courtney
have got a talent
man,
for the rhyming.
When Courtney got on the show this morning and mentioned Houston, I was like, Mike Jones is here in Huntsville today. So
that's all it took.
That's all it took. Well, we'll step aside. We'll take a break. We'll wrap it up in the next segment when we come back. Stay with us. We'll continue to highlight the good here in Huntsville. A reminder, too, giving away a free 1 meal, valid until the end of July, right here from our friends at Pinch and Plate. And so we're giving away that meal today, courtesy of them. So make sure that you like this broadcast, put a hashtag in there, and you share it. Just put hashtag Visit Huntsville or hashtag Hello Huntsville. Good morning. Whatever you want to say, you just have to put the hashtag in front of it. You're going to enter for a chance to win this free meal today. And you can use it up until the end of July. And this jewelry box, come on, guys. Look at that. There's a jewelry in here that's retailed at over $100. I can say that I've seen some of these open. It's a mystery box of jewelry. Mm-hmm. I saw one of these open. The retail price tag on one piece of jewelry, because it's all various stuff that Elliot's put together, the retail on one of them that was opened up, $230. Oh, nice. And it was a beautiful bracelet. Yes. So who knows what's in here, but you know what? Lucky rubber ducky, all you got to do, there's the rhyming again, Courtney. All you got to do is comment with a hashtag Good Morning Huntsville, Visit Huntsville, like and share this broadcast as we continue to promote the good here in our community. We'll step aside, take a break. We'll wrap it up when we come back. National Day of what? I have no idea. We'll find out when we come back on the other side. This is Good Morning Huntsville. Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Come on back down there and get the rest of it, boy, I tell you what.
Good morning.
Good morning. Look at Courtney. It's all bright. Charlotte's here. The stars at night shine bright. What is it?
Big and
Big
bright.
and bright.
The stars at night
Or big and bright.
big and bright. Ready? Deep in the heart of Texas. Man, I miss that song. We're having so much fun today. All you got to do every morning is join us from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., and you never know what's going to happen here on the show.
You never know.
I did not predict that we would get on the show today and sing that song just now.
Yeah.
Or it would turn into a rap contest.
No.
You know? We're throwing it down with surround sound, and all you got to do is tune in every single morning. We're going to bring it to you. Melissa Barham chiming in. She's entered the contest, a little Hello Huntsville. How about Denise Holly? She's like, you know what? I'm going all out. Hello Huntsville, visit Huntsville, Good Morning Huntsville. Denise is like, I'm doing the whole shebang this morning.
Go Denise.
Yeah,
We're going
Denise.
big and we're going home.
That's right.
That's right. So appreciate it, Denise. Thanks for joining us. A very special good morning to Melissa Barham. There is also a lot of folks that are joining us on the Huntsville, Texas News and Events group. And unfortunately, those comments I can't show on the screen because they don't come through our interface. And so what I have to do is I have to sit here on my phone. So this is a message to you. If you're in the Huntsville News and Events group, make sure to start watching through our Hello Huntsville Facebook page, because if you do that, we can see you. Because otherwise, I got to manually go through here. But I can see this morning that Stacy Lawler is joining us.
He's an old parent of ours.
There you go. Good morning, Stacy. Dina Scott saying, I see y'all. This is like Avatar. I see you, Charlotte. I see you, Courtney. Do you know what I'm talking about? That,
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? I don't think I'm ever going to like tell Braylon when she gets older, I see you, Braylon. It just is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's the way those Avatar people are, whatever they are. It's a movie, by the way. You're like, Rob, quit knocking people. I'm not knocking people. It's a movie, okay?
It is.
Chill. Dina Scott, good morning. Dina's in the contest with a little Good Morning Huntsville. And Kay Boning in Oklahoma, she's up there today. And that's why she's not on the show with Rick. But Kay saying good morning as well. So we see y'all this morning. We see you. Hey, thanks for joining us. It's been a fun one here today as we continue to highlight all the good things that are happening here throughout our community. Hey, check this out, too. Quentin Williams is Quentin Music Man Williams joining us. He's over at the bank, and Quentin won, I believe, our very first prize giveaway back in the day.
I know, Quentin.
I'm already saying like back in the day. It was only a couple months ago. Quentin
47 episodes ago.
Yep.
Boy, 40. It's like a grandpa telling a story. Now, let me tell you, boy, 47 episodes ago, it was just a good day. You know, it was only 2 months ago. Again, enter to win. We're having some fun here today. Y'all brought up a good point today as we were driving in. What did we see out there? I'll let you say what it is because we
There are
just
flags
discovered it.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Today is
Flag Day.
Flag Day today, and a big thank you to our good friends Brenda Poe and the Huntsville Lions Club. They are out today. They were out bright and early. They are the ones that put out the beautiful flag. When you see the flags around town, it is none other than the Lions Club, and they do incredible work. And a big shout out to Brenda Poe and all of the volunteers there with the Huntsville Lions Club. They were out early this morning. I saw a trailer driving by.
I did as well.
And the flags were flying on the trailer, which
Yeah.
is the United States and Texas flag were flying. And on the Huntsville, Texas Lions page, they say today is Flag Day. Lions were joined by veterans and patriots united, which makes the effort even more meaningful. And so we'll share that on our Hello Huntsville TX page here in just a second. You know, they changed up the way they do things on Facebook, but we'll share that. In the words of my sister or my brother, right meow. So,
Right meow.
Right meow.
Right meow. So it is on there. And Dina, I wasn't being harsh. Dina said I see y'all was for when you wondered if y'all were broadcasting the guy who had the connection issue. LOL. So yeah, we're having good fun this morning. Dina, thanks for joining us. I do see that comment coming in now. Dina, we see you.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. Again, enter to win the contest. We'll be giving that away here shortly in just a few moments. We've still got a few minutes. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori School is helping to make this show possible today. We already know that it's Flag Day today. And National Flag Day, just a little bit about it here is it started this day commemorates Old Glory, and commemorates the adoption of the United States flag on June the 14th, 1777.
Wow.
Yikes.
Or you can say 1777. It just sounds better.
It does.
Feels
Yeah,
good.
it does.
So try that real quick. If you're listening on the audio podcast or you're watching, just kind of sit back, take a deep breath, and then just say 1777 like this. 1777. just kind of meditation.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are like, I'm never watching the show again. The holiday is a day that Americans show respect for the U.S. flag and what it represents. Representing Independence Day or independence and unity, the Star-Spangled Banner has become a powerful symbol of Americanism, and the flag is flown proudly. You'll be able to see the flags all around town here today, again, courtesy of the Lions Club.
Did you know what the oldest flag in the world is?
Probably because you're over here going, it's probably in Denmark.
Yes, that's right. It is from Denmark. Denmark has the oldest flag in the world.
Hey,
So
I
there.
see you. I'm reading you this morning. And so it's been a lot of fun. Dino, by the way, is saying y'all are cracking me up this morning. That's what we try to do, We try to crack you up and then put a little super glue back on you and bring you back together here
Come on back.
Good Morning Huntsville, 1777. Here we go. This is another rap song. You're going to think this
I
is
love
great.
it.
Courtney's bringing out the rap. Today is National Bourbon Day.
Ooh.
Bourbon.
I love me some bourbon.
Bourbon. Like Scotch, cognac, and some other spirits. I don't like how they call it spirits. I don't know why they do that. Bourbon must meet certain standards and be produced in a specific geographical region to earn its name.
Yep.
Called by the world when it's distilled in the United States for a distiller to legally, I didn't know this, you have to, it's a legal thing. For a distiller to legally label their whiskey as bourbon, they must meet specific criteria. Here it is. The whiskey, I'm going to read it in a real good East Texas Huntsville voice down here.
Go.
The whiskey must be 51% corn. 51%. Can't be 50. Can't be 50.9.
51.
51% corn. The distiller must store the whiskey in a new, not aged, charred oak barrel. You better have a charred oak barrel, young lady.
Yep.
Because if not, I'm going to char your bottom.
New one.
That's what they
New
say.
one.
New one, not old.
That's what they say. You
Not
know when the
aged.
parents discipline them? If you don't, look, you better have a charred oak barrel. If not, I'm going to char your bottom. That's
Yeah.
what they
Oh,
say.
there
in the
you
distillery.
go.
That's where
what
that
they-
came
That's
from.
what they say, yeah.
Interesting.
We don't do that.
They don't say that.
No.
They also must distill the whiskey at no more than 160 proof. I don't know what that is. I just know there's a proofing. And finally, distillers must ensure the bourbon is barreled at 125 proof.
Okay.
125 proof. That is National Bourbon Day. Here's the rap that goes. There's an old rap song. This is for the bourbons and the Cadillacs. And I don't know why you put like Suburban and Cadillac in the same thing.
See, I was thinking corn. Rain makes
It's a
corn.
Southern
Corn makes
thing.
whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Rain makes corn. Corn makes
makes
whiskey.
whiskey.
We're
Yep,
singing
there you
today.
go.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right. That's about as far as I go on that one. Today is also a very important day. It's World Blood Donor Day. You know how many blood banks are always needing folks to come in and donate
Especially
blood?
in the summertime.
Yes.
Yeah, and so this is very important. Do we have is there like a blood bank that comes to Huntsville with a mobile trailer?
You know, I think there used to be, but I don't.
I haven't seen them in a while.
No, I hadn't either.
You know
that
what?
might be something we should
Yeah.
look into.
We're doing a
Absolutely.
Raise of Hope fundraising drive. This just popped into my head. We're doing a Raise of Hope fundraising drive at the end of next month. And it's going to be a donation drive. Several nonprofits are going to be blessed by that. Tomorrow's Promise, by the way, we're going to help raise some things that you guys need as well during that drive.
Awesome.
But I just thought about, we need to reach out to the blood bank and see if they can bring a trailer.
Yeah,
that-
no,
that
I think
event.
that's a
Absolutely.
great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out how to make that
Yeah.
happen. So maybe you're listening or watching this morning saying, hey, I know I got a connection to the blood bank. Well, come on, vampire, we need you. So help us out this morning. In all seriousness, it's something that's really needed. And so we want to make sure that we are active and help
Yes.
out with that. Hey, we've had a fun one here today. We do have some prizes to give away this morning. And I did want to ask y'all any final thoughts this morning. It's been a fun morning.
It has
been fun
Well,
morning.
Rick and Kay are going to have to when
They're
they
gonna
come.
have to step up their
We,
game.
Yeah.
we need to come on once a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
There you
just,
go.
I'm already
Sorry.
thinking again, the rhymes are in my head. Like, hey, y'all came to spark the flame.
That's
now
right.
Rick and Kay are going to have to up their game.
Ooh, that's
Boom.
a good one.
We threw it down with surround sound this morning. 7.1. We ain't 2.0 channel up in here. I don't even know where
Love
we're
it.
going. It's been fun this morning. Hey, friends, we love you. We appreciate you. We are going to bring on some stuff. By the way, here's some good news, by the way. Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church had a blood bank at their church this past weekend. So
Oh.
Quentin did not know that. And I want to highlight some of the things that Mount Zion Missionary Baptist is doing here sometime soon because they have been doing a lot in the community, and you guys had reached out to me, Quentin, and so I'll get back to you. But we definitely want to have some folks from Mount Zion on here as well to talk about what they are doing. So thank you for that. And then also, Denise had posted here, save lives, donate blood with the hashtag so important. So, all right, here we go. This is for a food certificate here to Pinch and Plate. And by the way, when you go in, you don't get pinched after you get your plate. That's not what the name comes from. It was Pinch and Dash originally, but it's been renamed to Pinch and Plate. You think of it like when you're cooking a pinch of salt, a dash. That's where the name. That's where the name came from. We're giving away that meal. Give it away now, and we are giving away now some jewelry right here, sponsored by Elliot's Jewelers. And this today will go to. Just looking here. How about Miss Denise Holly? So, winner chicken dinner. Congratulations, Denise. We will get with you, and we'll just send us a private message on social media, and we will get to you and figure out how to get you this prize and set up a time. Been a fun one today. You guys are going to the animal safari.
Yes, we are. I'm taking maybe 20, 25 children to the Aggieland Safari here in about 30 minutes. We'll be leaving and looking forward to a fun hot day with lots of water.
There you go. So we will wrap it up with this. Again, appreciate this morning Charlotte and Courtney joining us, doing great work at Tomorrow's Promise. Please visit them online, tomorrowspromise.info. Yes. I got to get them out of here. They got kids to take to Aggieland Safari.
That's right.
Thank you all for being here. It's been such a fun morning.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Again, please visit them online. And friends, as I end every single broadcast, I want to remind you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We do need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Until tomorrow, we got more guests. You'll just have to tune in tomorrow to find out who. We are booked up throughout the rest of the week and also starting to book up next week as well. Join us again as we will be on with our good friend Justin Killingsworth of the Color Bar and also a special guest tomorrow at 7 a.m. Until then, good morning, Huntsville. God bless. We'll see you next time.